Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a great Friday evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we have a lot to talk about this evening. Mainly, I'm not saying trust anyone. I'm saying that William Barr wrote, and William Barr believes the same things that I do. And that means that Democrats are frightened of Trump's new attorney general. They're so frightened of him. By the way, check out my latest segment on HA Second Amendment. It is a SIG P220 Elite 45 ACP. AC Your. Happy Friday. Thank you. Inside Scarlet, hello. We're going to have a great segment. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show rocking. Alexander, I hope you liked my last upload yesterday. You were the fuel for the fire that burned within me. Yeah, but definitely check out everyone. SIG P220. Ronald Foos, hello. Ram Lafara, hello. Great firearm. Really, it was just a joy to shoot safely and responsibly. William Barr is a nice change from Sessions. Already you have William Barr's unsolicited memo to Trump about obstruction of justice. So in their minds, they think that Trump, that Trump firing Mueller is an obstruction of justice issue. Or that if Trump were to Trump firing Comey, if Trump were to fire Mueller, it would be obstruction of justice. This is an obvious investigation into a fantasy. It's a fantasy. There is no, oh, by the way, I'm going to do an upload after this. Tulsi Gabbard is running, apparently. And I actually love Tulsi Gabbard. But I'll tell you this. Tulsi Gabbard could be the first female president of this country in 2024. Tulsi Gabbard is the antithesis of Max Boot and Bill Kristol and Hillary Clinton in terms of foreign policy. And they will never allow her to win the Democratic Party. She is too independent of thought. She is too intelligent. She is too genuine, and they need somebody like Beto O'Rourke. If his name is Beto, my name is Rico Suave Sanders. Bernardito Sanders. Benito Sanders. She's a really wonderful human being, Tulsi Gabbard. That's exactly why Democrats don't want her. She's too good for them. And she's just awesome. Very intelligent. Flew to a war-torn nation to speak to a despot on her own. Who does that? Who has the guts? Who has the courage to do that? No man, no woman other than Tulsi Gabbard. That's why you can't have a Democrat who's courageous and intelligent. You have to have either a criminal or a fake and a phony. Who rides the skateboard, dude? But so Tulsi Gabbard could win in 2024. But let's read what William Barr wrote. Okay. William Barr, this is a Wall Street Journal article. Very interesting. I'm going to read you this memo, and it's pretty awesome. I'll read you parts of it. The practical implications of Mueller's approach, especially in light of its shapeless concept of obstruction, are astounding. DOJ lawyers are always making decisions that invite the allegation that they are improperly colluding or constraining an investigation, and these allegations are frequently accompanied by a claim that the official is acting based on some nefarious motive. Under the theory now being advanced, any claim that an exercise of prosecutorial discretion was improperly motived could legitimately be presented as potential criminal obstruction. What he's saying is any critique, whether or not it's accurate, is viewed as obstruction. So let's say, for example, this was conducted based on a lie, furthered by criminals, and just the fantasy of a Clinton inspired and purchased investigation into nothing, because they're investigating nothing. They're trying to find a crime. Usually there's an investigation after a criminal act. Under this theory now being advanced, any claim that an exercise of prosecutorial discretion, the claim that would be made unless the subjective motivations of the decision makers are thoroughly explored through a grand jury investigation, the putative improper motive could not be ruled out. In an increasingly partisan environment, these concerns are by no means trivial. For decades, the department has been routinely attacked both for its failures to pursue certain matters and for its decisions to move forward on others. Especially when a House of Congress is held by an opposing party, the department is almost constantly being accused of deliberately scuttling enforcement in a particular class of cases, usually involving the environmental laws. There are claims that cases are not being brought or are being brought to appease an administration's political constituency. And this, with Trump, it's not. Or that the department is failing to investigate a matter in order to cover up its own wrongdoing or to protect the administration. Yeah, again, in Trump's case, that's not the issue. Department is always overrun with requests to name a special counsel to pursue this or that matter, and it's frequently claimed that his reluctance to do so is based on improper motive. When a supervisor intervenes in a case, directing a course of action differently from one preferred by the subordinate, not infrequently there is a tendency for the subordinate to ascribe some nefarious motive. And when personnel changes are made, as for example, removing a U.S. attorney, there are sometimes claimed that move was intended to truncate some investigation. While these controversies have therefore been waged largely on a field of political combat, Mueller's sweeping obstruction theory would now open the way for the criminalization of these disputes. Predictably, challenges to the department decisions will be accompanied by claims that the Attorney General, other supervisory officials, are obstructing justice because their directions are improperly motivated. Whether the slightest colorable claim of possible improper motive is advanced, there will be calls for criminal investigation and a possible obstruction. The prospect of being accused of criminal conduct and possibly being investigated for such would inevitably cause officials to shrink from making potentially controversial decisions. So, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Really, really, really interesting. So he's basically Sinyi Talup and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. He's basically saying that Democrats have utilized the notion of obstruction simply to ensure that the Mueller probe continues without any critique, without any condemnation. The Mueller probe is based on nonsense. There's no reason to investigate Trump. The intelligence was not even sourced from within the U.S. government. The intelligence or the evidence to investigate Trump in the first place was purchased by Hillary Clinton through the Steele dossier and CrowdStrike. The U.S. government never even looked at DNC servers. Why is it that the U.S. government wasn't suspicious of the Democratic National Committee? Why was there no suspicion of the Democratic National Committee? This is interesting. The chilling effect is magnified still further because Mueller's approach fails to define the kind of impact an action must be considered to be an obstruction. As long as the concept of obstruction is tied to evidence impairment, the nature of the action being prohibited is discernible. But once taken out of this context, how does one differentiate between an objectionable influence and an illegal obstruction? The actions being alleged as obstruction in this case illustrate the point. Assuming arguendo that the president had motives such that, under Mueller's theory, any direct order by him to terminate the investigation would be considered an obstruction. What action short of that would be impermissible? The removal of Comey is presumably being investigated as obstruction due to some collateral impact it could have on a proceeding. But removing an agency head does not have the natural or foreseeable consequence of obstructing any proceeding being handled by that agency. How does one gauge whether the collateral effects of one's actions could be impermissibly affect a proceeding? So, if the FBI was continuing to investigate Russia collusion, it could have done so without Comey. Okay? If there was evidence of collusion with Russia, it could have continued to try to find evidence. They didn't even have evidence. The same problem exists regarding the president's comments about Flynn. And first of all, by the way, we don't know what he said. It was never taped. We have no idea. And this is Comey's word. So it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And this is William Barr, who's basically, in a very philosophical and like a legal scholar, just tearing Mueller apart. Mueller is a travesty. It's an extension. He's an extension of the Democratic Party. He was President Obama's FBI director. He presided over a bribery and racketeering scandal on U.S. soil. I mean, the whole thing is just absolutely, we haven't stopped. Trump has been bullied. That's the thing. They view Trump to be a bully. But the reality is that what's taken place is that Democrats are the true bullies. They have investigated Trump based on no evidence, and they've exonerated Clinton despite the evidence that she committed crimes. Hey, a memo is better than Sessions, which is basically getting clowned by Trump every 2 seconds and doing nothing. This is just one of the many things William Barr has written. Now, he could be another Sessions. Who knows? I agree. He could be another Sessions. He could be another establishment. But I do think that Republicans know, ultimately, the power structure knows that if they don't turn the tables, they're going to have a really hard time in 2020, or at least an uphill battle. You know, Democrats have the media, they have Mueller, they have the House, they have a lot. I mean, William Barr has to turn the tables, or else the Republicans. And the thing is, Clinton would have won had it not been for Trump. And then who would have resurrected the Republican Party? Probably somebody. It would probably be Trump, because I can't imagine Clinton going 2 terms with the Clinton Foundation pay to play that would have taken place with a private server out. I mean, she would have had her private server. Could you imagine a president with a private server that the United States government could not access? Could you imagine? Could you imagine the national security risk? The same problem exists regarding the president's comments about Flynn. Even if the president's motives were such, under Mueller's theory, Based on this, he expressed the hope that Comey would see his way clear to let the matter go. The formulation that Comey sees his way clear explicitly leaves the decision with Comey. Most normal subordinates would not have found these comments obstructive. Of course they weren't. Would a superior's questioning the legal merit of a case be obstructive? Of course not. Would pointing out some consequence of the subordinate's position be obstructive? Of course not. None of this, from Russian hacking that never happened to Comey's alleged recollection of a conversation. But no, but we don't know what Trump said. We don't know anything. All of this was based on gossip and hearsay, just to cover up the real truth that WikiLeaks published. All of this is to cover up the truth. All of it. The Mueller probe, the Russian hacking, everything. Clinton losing, everything. Everything is to cover up the truth. The truth about Hillary Clinton is enough to have her lose every single election. The truth about Hillary Clinton. And then this is interesting. I mean, it's really interesting. So let's see. The whole thing is Barr eviscerating the Mueller probe. And he's doing so from the vantage point of a former attorney general. It's not like, the weak-willed Sessions. Rob 589, Maddow is already pushing the meme that since Barr advocated pardoning Iran-Contra crooks, obviously he was appointed to pardon supposed Trump crimes. This will be this will be a talking point if Barr stops Mueller. Rob 589, that's a great, thank you for telling me this. And this is actually great news. Rob 589, what I think needs to happen is from here on out, Dan Bongino brought up this point, but I'm going to try to, I guess, add to it, or maybe my point is completely different. From here on out, William Barr, President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, his administration has to do what is good for Trump and Trump voters and completely ignore MSNBC, CNN, the Washington Post, the Democratic Party, late night talk show, whatever makes them livid is what Trump should do. And I agree with you that they're going to say, oh, well, Barr came in, but they had Sessions. All those people who said trust Sessions, they were being taken for a ride by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Gee, who could have thought up a message board, some message board nonsense that would make tens of thousands, possibly more, Trump voters complacent and just trusting the wrong people? Oh, I know, Democrats. I think that Rob 589, thank you so much. I think that what Trump needs to do is do everything possible to make Democrats just want to impeach him every 2 seconds. And William Barr has to start a special counsel into Clinton. There's enough information. There's enough data. There's enough evidence. He even said there's more evidence regarding Clinton than the Clinton Foundation than there is regarding any Trump-Russia collusion. The Truman Show, good. So What they did was they set up a bogus investigation, and then they used the protocol of normal investigations to shield the bogus investigation from criticism or from being terminated. That's what they did. It's inconceivable to me that the department could accept Mueller's interpretation of, 15 legal statute 1512 C2 is untenable as a matter of law and cannot provide a legitimate basis for interrogating the president. I know you will agree that if a DOJ investigation is going to take down a democratically elected president, it is imperative to the health of our system and to our national cohesion that any claim of wrongdoing is solidly based on evidence of a real crime. Yeah. Yes. Not a debatable one. It is time to travel well-worn paths, not to veer into novel, unsettled, or contested areas of law, and not to indulge the fancies of overzealous prosecutors. As elaborated on below, Mueller's theory should be rejected for the following reasons. First, the sweeping interpretation being proposed is contrary to the statute's plain meaning and would directly contravene the department's longstanding and consistent position that generally worded statutes cannot be applied to the president's exercise of his constitutional powers, in absence of a clear statement in the statute that such an application was intended. Second, Mueller's premise that whenever an investigation touches on the president's own conduct, it is inherently corrupt under the statute for the president to influence that matter is insupportable. In granting plenary law enforcement powers to the president, the Constitution places no such limit on the president's supervisory authority. So it's like, third, defining facially lawful exercises of executive discretion as potential crimes based solely on subjective motive would violate Article 2 of the Constitution by impermissibly burdening the exercise of core discretionary powers within the executive branch. Then you get these guys on CNN. Well, Watergate. Well, Nixon couldn't have prevented the investigation into Watergate. Yeah, but Watergate was a crime. Where's the crime? We don't even know if the DNC was hacked. We have nobody is absolutely certain the DNC was even hacked. The CIA is not. The FBI is not. The NSA is not. So, I mean, the whole thing with William Barr, look, who knows? Like, I'm saying eventually Clinton is going to get indicted, whether it's the second term or the end of the first term. I don't know. There needs to be an investigation. William Barr has written this 19-page memo to Rosenstein. This is hilarious. And his subordinate. Mueller's obstruction theory, quote unquote, obstruction theory. So ridiculous. Oh, he fired Comey. That was obstruction of justice? Comey set up Trump with a Steele dossier that was purchased by Hillary Clinton. Where is he? This is why I say Trump should have fired Mueller. And this is the thing. There's too much reverence of government. There's too much reverence of government. There's too much deference and reverence. If he would have fired Mueller, he could have simply said, okay, prove it. Prove it. Prove there was a crime. Prove there was a crime. If you submit to government power. Okay, this is a bluff. The government is bluffing. They don't hold any cards. The only thing that Mueller has his government power. He doesn't have evidence. He doesn't even have a crime. He doesn't have anything linking Trump. The only thing he could do is intimidate people. And he has a media and a Democratic Party and social media, Twitter, really. So he has millions of people supporting him and rooting for him because it's the only thing Democrats have. They don't have any policies. They're not going to abolish ICE. They're not going to implement Medicare for all. They're not going to do any of those things. Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders. They when they got close to Bernie Sanders being president, they're like, no, we can't have this. So they're never going to, ever going to allow a progressive Bernie, true Bernie progressive, or anyone like Jill Stein or Bernie Sanders, anything like that. So the only thing they have is Mueller. But what they did was they created, it's not, hey man, it's not me. No thumbs down to me. This is the Democratic Party. Democrats are the gatekeepers. Democrats are the gatekeepers. They're the ones who run the primaries. They're the ones who influence media. They're the ones who have influenced the Justice Department up until hopefully the 15th when Barr gets confirmed. And this will be what? 12, 13, 14, 15. This Tuesday. This Tuesday. So this Tuesday, Barr gets confirmed, but they'll never let Bernie Sanders ever, or anyone else. Maybe Beto, because Beto is like a joke. He's a joke. So, Stuart Gibson, good morning. Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, Stuart Gibson. But all they have is the Mueller probe. They have state power, and they have utilized state power to the point where if you critique or if you condemn state power, you are then saying, oh, well, you have a criminal motive to stop an investigation into nonsense. That's good. That is good. You have a criminal. You know what it's like? It's like a police officer going to your car and saying, "Well, we're going to stop you," and then you say, "Officer, I didn't do anything wrong," and then they look around your car and they just bash your headlights and they say, "Sure, you did." That's exactly what the Mueller probe is. They don't have anything. They never had anything. There was no Trump-Russia collusion. Nothing. Well, what about this? What about that? Well, what about all the actual evidence with Clinton? If that's the mindset, then Clinton should be investigated, not Trump. That's what I'm saying. Like, look. Trump's going to get his third Supreme Court nominee. I understand that there's a monumental power struggle. I understand that. I understand that Democrats is a monumental power struggle where Democrats lost $1.2 billion because they cheated Bernie Sanders and then they blamed Russia without any evidence, and they started an investigation without any evidence, without even a crime, and they got the monstrous behemoth of government rolling. It's like this giant boulder they pushed. And everyone says, oh my God, this boulder. Oh my God. Oh my God. We have to continue the investigation. So you have establishment Republicans who need state power, and you have Democrats who love state power, and you have Hillary Clinton who's pulling the strings. And you have an investigation where the lead investigator in both the Clinton email cover-up and the Trump-Russia fabrication is Peter Strzok, who hated Trump, who said, we're going to stop Trump. He should have fired Mueller and said, we're firing Mueller because the lead investigator said we were to stop Trump. Declassify everything. And what Trump should have done is just throw a little egg on the face of all these wonderful, deep state people, and then just gone ahead and continued his presidency. But see, he was told not to do that. Oh my God, you're going to get impeached. Nothing would have passed the House. He had a Republican House. So I don't understand if you just show people he had the ability, Trump, to declassify whatever he wanted to. So Larry, it was awesome. Actually, the SIG, check this out, Larry and everyone. Springfield Armory is great. This was also, I think it's a little less expensive than the Springfield Armory. It was SIG P220 Elite. It was awesome. I agree with you on that, Shelly. I agree with you on that. I do agree with you. And Alice, there's a tremendous amount of gaslighting going on, specifically by the media. And I understand that, Trump probably had to play ball. He probably had to play ball, but he holds the cards. And it's just, you have William Barr and, you have Rosenstein leaving. The Mueller probe has to end eventually. Release the Kraken. Oh, we all want this. It's been a little bit slow lately. I mean, we had Rosenstein resigning. Which is good. He's going to resign. When he does resign, it'll be amazing. But this is really interesting. I mean, unfortunately, you need the establishment to clean up the establishment. So I'm hoping that William Barr actually does that. This is a really interesting. So Trump's attorney general criticized an aspect of Mueller. William Barr said obstruction of justice inquiry by special counsel is fatally misconceived. That's the only thing they have. They created a phony investigation and then they hid behind the protocol or the state power or the certain legal theories that protect investigations. So then you have people who are like, oh, he has to recuse himself. No, he's not coming in. Trump's not going to have somebody who's going to recuse himself come in. That's ridiculous. And even people like Romney, they have to understand that if this continues for 2 more years, which it won't, it's going to end eventually in the next couple of months. But this hurts establishment Republicans too, but establishment Republicans are too stupid to realize that. They're stuck in the 90s. They're stuck with, they actually, like Jeff Flake, he was leaving. So he's like, oh, okay, I get good media gigs, or I can, make a better living if I embrace the behinds of Democrats. I agree with you, Ramla. I agree with you. But yeah, I mean, it is it's interesting that this new attorney general is a breath of fresh air. Whatever happens, he's a breath of fresh air. If Republicans ask for a special counsel, um, he'll probably look at it and consider it, and hopefully go ahead um, and create one. But he stated that the uranium deal. This is really interesting. Trump's Attorney General pick, William Barr, said there's more reason to investigate Hillary Clinton than the president. This is Newsweek. Here's the article in Newsweek. Here's the article in Newsweek. I mean, this is great. This is absolutely great. Trump's Attorney General pick, William Barr, said there's more reason to investigate Hillary Clinton than the president. What more could you ask for? Barr also echoed some of Trump's assertions that criminal investigations should be launched against Clinton for her Uranium One deal with Russia. Yes! Clinton was serving as the Secretary of State at the time of the controversial deal. It was later discovered that one of Uranium One's owners had donated more than $140 million to the Clinton Foundation. So you have, Sessions had thought about launching a probe. Yeah, right. This is Sessions thinking about launching a probe. Let's see. Should I launch a probe? How about no? How about never? How about in your dreams? How about no? Trust me. That's Sessions. Let's see. So Barr said the lack of an investigation was an instance where the Justice Department abdicating its responsibility. Hello. Oh my God. We're going to hit like 200,000 subs in no time. 200,000 subs in no time. If we just come on, William Barr. Help H.A. Goodman, William Barr. Let's do this, baby. Let's do this. Trump's Attorney General pick, William Barr, says there's more reason to investigate Hillary Clinton than the president. William Barr, Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General, suggested there was more reason to investigate Hillary Clinton's ties to Russia than the possibility that a foreign power conspired with the president's 2016 campaign. They haven't even explained how the Facebook ads influenced anyone. They don't even make that connection. He was my first choice since day one. The president said he should have picked him. He'll be nominated. Barr supports broad executive powers. Trump publicly shamed his attorney general for recusing himself. Barr, on the other hand, has been vocal in his criticism of the Russia investigation. I would have liked to see him have more ballot. 13 Democrats. But Barr said something they didn't like, so it's not fair. He thinks an investigation should be launched against Clinton for her Uranium One deal with Russia. And that's an ongoing investigation in the FBI. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, and I've been saying this for a long time, Clinton will eventually get indicted. Exactly. Loud citizen, I agree. Just call their bluff. Call their bluff. Avi, hello. Shabbat shalom. When you're playing poker and you know the other guy has nothing, you just call their bluff. You know, call their bluff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please go ahead and Shelly, thank you. This is a great, great article. It's a great article. And I mean, William Barr is ready to rock and roll. I mean, the 15th is going to be interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see here. Let's get this. If you are into firearms, let's get HA Second Amendment going. I have a new camera angle that I worked on, and it looks great. If I do say so myself. You for the War of 1812. Yes. So share this right now. SIG B220. It's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very, very much. Look, 2019 is going to be awesome. You definitely want to subscribe to this channel because I've been on top of this since 2015. It's for like go over 3 years, 2016, 17, 18. 3 years going on 4 years. I've been talking about this from day one. And other people have been talking about this as well. John Solomon, Kimberly Strassel, Sarah Carter, Dan Bongino, Paul Sperry, Tom Fitton, who's the man. Tom Fitton is like the tip of the spear. Joe DeGeneva, Victoria Tenzing, myself. It's 9 people. I've written articles about this in The Hill and the Huffington Post and Salon. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very much. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.